Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting a new series called Coffee Chats with SJ, where I'm gonna have my coffee with you and we're gonna chat about something that you wanna chat about. So the number one question that I get on Instagram, on any platform that I am, when I open the doors to questions, I'm always gonna be asked the same thing, and that is, how are you so confident? And I think that's an interesting question because yes, I have these markers and these place points in my life of where I've tweaked the way that I think, the way that I talk to myself, the way that I orient with the world to increase my confidence. And we can get into that in a little bit, but I think that the number one thing that I want people to know, and the number one mistake I see people making, is that they think that confidence is a destination. It's like a place that you arrive, or it's something to be achieved. And in reality, confidence is much more a day-to-day practice. It's a thing that we participate in every single day of our lives. And so yes, maybe I have more confidence today than I had 5 years ago on a regular basis. Like, my standard for confidence is higher, but I still participate in the act of remaining confident and behaving in the world as a confident person. So I'm gonna take a sip of my espresso and then we'll keep the conversation going. When we think about it as a destination, here's what we're doing. When we think, one day I will be confident, a couple of things occur. First, we think it's for someone else. Us in the future, maybe the someone else, or me, Sarah Jane now. We think it's like a thing that isn't for us in this moment. It's a thing that we maybe will get sometime. And so when we think of it like that, it becomes a one day thing. Like, one day I'll be confident. One day I will go to Europe. Whatever the thing is that our goals happen to be, when we get into that one day mindset, it becomes an easy thing to put off, right? Instead of saying, I'm gonna participate in my confidence today, that's much more tangible, right? That's much more action oriented. That is doing something right now. Participating in the act of becoming confident, increasing your confidence every single day is where I hope that you will be. And it's the same thing with any goal, right? Like, I want you participating in that goal right now, not one day. It's not a thing to do sometime. Even something as tangible as a trip out of the country, you're participating in that trip out of the country as soon as you decide you want to go on it, right? You start saving money, you start researching, you start making plans, you start putting things into place to prepare. If you don't have a date for that trip out of the country, it will not happen. So just like with confidence, you need to be actively participating in it. It needs to be a thing that you're doing, not a thing that you will do sometime. And along with this idea of it's a destination, not a relationship, which is what I think of it as, right? It's a relationship that I have to myself that increases my confidence on a regular basis, a healing, loving, kind, tender, passionate relationship to my life that increases my confidence if I live in that mindset every day, versus, well, sometime I'll be a confident person, and when I'm a confident person, then I will live a healing, happy, fulfilled, passionate lifestyle that's suited for someone who's confident enough to live it. Do you see how that switched, right? Like, confidence comes from living the life you want to live, doing the things that are scary to do, like having the hard conversations, putting yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable, taking dynamic risks, and seeing that you're fine on the other side of that, seeing that you were competent and capable the whole time, and allowing the right people in to your circle, talking to yourself in a calm, confident, kind way, so that when other people speak to you in ways that aren't in alignment with that, it becomes very, very obvious that they're not matching the energy that you require to be loved by them, or for them to be in an intimate relationship to yourself. I think sometimes we put this pressure on ourselves to be extremely confident and to, reach that destination, and we limit our reward until we feel like we're supposed to feel the way we want to feel, right? Like, so I'm like, oh, when I'm confident, then I'll get to do all the big things I want to do. And at the same time, we actively sabotage our confidence in a few specific ways. We allow people into our lives that speak unkindly to us or get joy out of our failure and don't root for our success. We surround ourselves on social media with accounts that that are screaming at us that we need to be fixed or there's something wrong with us. And this can happen in a myriad of ways. I think the most obvious is in body image. You know, if you are struggling with your body image and you're following all these fitspiration accounts that are telling you how to restrict and diet and work out to get like this one specific kind of chiseled ab, like, of course your brain is it's inundated with information telling you that you are not okay, that you as you are not okay. If you can unfollow all of the accounts that make you feel like you are supposed to shapeshift, and then replace those accounts with ones that are people who have bodies like yours, and or, you know, I would say even like bigger bodies than yours, doing amazing things in the world, then you're gonna have the opportunity to see it doesn't really matter what your body looks like, or if you match the specific mold that doesn't even exist in nature, because it's all editing anyway. If you don't match this like specific mold of like whatever the body that's in right now looks like, then you can still enjoy your life. You can still find love and happiness and joy and fulfillment as you are. So there's that, right? It's who you allow into your space physically and how they speak to you, who you're allowing into your space mentally. And I would say representation is so important in every way. I think making sure that you're following people who look differently than you in terms of like skin type, people who love differently than you in terms of orientation. You know, there's plenty of people to follow who have edited their bodies down or are hyper focused on making sure they have like the societally expected body, but following people who have bodies outside of the norm, different stages of ability, that you're surrounding yourself with that so that you remember that there's this beautiful, rich, wide variety of people in the world, and there's not just one way, because there is one kind of like standard. If I say like the human ideal, we immediately get a person in our mind, and likely they're the same. Like a specific caricature of a person. And the more people like that you follow, and the less variety that you're giving yourself in terms of representation in your social media feed and in the media that you watch, then the more comfortable you're going to be self-rejecting. And the more comfortable you're going to be rejecting other people who don't match the norm. So get comfortable looking at things that maybe you feel like you're not supposed to look at, or, you know, dimples on thighs, stretch marks, stomach rolls. Get comfortable with this stuff, because at the end of the day, like, if you look at it enough, it becomes quite beautiful. And I can tell you that from experience. If you are only looking at the like human ideal of like what society is, and I like to say what's in style right now, because that's true, right? In history, what is trendy in terms of a body has changed dramatically over the years. And right now we have like a specific body that like is in style, and that will be completely different next year, maybe 2 years from now, depending on the trends of our society and how things move and change. And so it's kind of in that way like a silly idea that we compare ourselves at all to anyone, because it's all just that person's gonna be out of style in 2 years. The person who was in the Calvin Klein ads back in the 90s like isn't the ideal right now, and just like the ideal right now is not gonna be the ideal in 10 years. So holding ourselves to this like ever moving standard is really unfair and unrealistic, and makes a lot of companies a lot of money. So that representation in your media. The other thing is to put yourself in situations that you didn't know you could do. So a lot of the confidence that I would say that I have built in my life comes from traveling alone, doing hard things by myself. So going to Nicaragua, getting from a certain city to this remote island without any help, you know, without any guidance, meeting strangers and figuring out who to trust and who not to trust, navigating maps, navigating difficult scenarios, standing up for myself, trusting my instincts. These things build confidence. And while maybe you can't travel right now, but you can start to trust yourself more, start to take your instincts into account and really value your own intuition, value your own experience. And so for a lot of you, just communicating that you have a preference, communicating that you have a need, laying out for people your boundaries, these are things that are confidence builders. And this is why I say confidence isn't this thing to achieve down the road. It's not like a destination you're gonna get to, because just as confidence is built, confidence can be given away. So if I all of a sudden started following all these Fitspiration and diet accounts, surrounded myself with people who spoke negatively to me, didn't root for my success, and quit advocating for myself and just started telling myself that like what I want and what I need isn't important, doesn't matter, then guess what's gonna happen to me? My confidence is going to slowly be chipped away. And so make sure that you remember that this is a participation. This is a choice that you make every day and every moment. So a good way to think about this is, today, am I making the decisions that a confident person would make? Am I making the decisions that I want someone else to make for themselves? If I love someone, would I let them make the decisions that I'm making right now? I'm gonna take a sip of coffee, give you a little story time. So I think a really good example of this is everybody's like different safety level with what's going on in the world at the moment. I don't want to say the word. The things happening in the world in terms of health and safety and being in quarantine, not being in quarantine, all of that. If you have a different standard for what feels safe for you than maybe the people in your life, a confident person, right, would advocate for their definition of safety and be able to say, this is my body autonomy, and I will make the decisions that I need to make for my own safety and well-being. And a less than confident person might over-sacrifice, go against their own values, go against their own feeling of security in order to please the people in their life. And it's hard, right? These conversations are hard because it's easy for people to say that like maybe you're over concerned. Maybe it's easy for people to feel like your concerns don't matter and that your needs are less important than their wants, whatever it is. Then you are able then to say, if I were fully confident, if that were a destination that was achievable, how would I behave in this situation? And then you can make the decisions that you need to make for yourself from there. And that builds the confidence, it builds onto it, because you're proving to yourself that you can advocate for yourself, that you're worth advocating for, and that most people are still gonna wanna stay around. Like the people who love you, and they want you to advocate for yourself. And the ones who don't, that's not good love, right? We want the love that embraces our confidence, embraces our ability to stand firm and strong and, stand firmly into our own being and our own worth. That's the relationship we want to preserve. If there's a relationship that is denying that for us, that's good information, right? If these conversations go poorly, good data for the future. So we've talked a little bit about the mistakes that people make when they're looking at their confidence. We've talked about a couple of ways in which this shows up in your day-to-day life. And I think it's also important to know, to really hold on to the fact that like, as we heal and love and speak kindly to ourselves, the more normal that starts to feel and the more this builds. So yes, maybe today, if I say you're gonna start your confidence journey right now, and you're gonna behave as a confident person right now, you're going to feel like you're playing pretend. If you are like far down the shame journey, if you're far down the journey of feeling unvaluable, unworthy, then you're gonna feel like you're playing pretend, and that's okay. But I want you to move into true confidence through consistently being reliable with yourself, building trust with yourself, proving that you're competent and capable, that you can do things on your own, proving that you can advocate for yourself, and surrounding yourself with messages that reinforce the idea that this is a good journey for you to be on. And I think there's a whole lot more to say about body positivity and our body journey, just outside of confidence in general. So if you guys want a full-on like body, relationship to your body video, let me know in the comments below, or hit the like button. If I get a good amount of likes, I'll get the hint. So thank you guys so much for being here. And if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit subscribe. I have 2 videos come out every single week. Some are vlog style, some are more talk to the camera. And if you want more of these like coffee chats with me, let me know. comments are helpful. And I'll see you next time. Bye.